the double division. So if I was going to say, what is 4 divided by 5 divided by 6, how would you do that? What would you do? Well, if you remember the rules of exponents, and we only have division, you always want to work from left to right. So the way to approach this is simply going to be 4 divided by 5, and then we're going to divide that by 6. Now, how do I divide a fraction by a whole number? Remember, we can always write division as a product. So what I can do is I can rewrite this as a 4/5 times the reciprocal, right? Oh, sorry. You can always write division as a multiplication of the reciprocal. So I can multiply it across here. So what I want you to recognize here is this becomes a 4 over a 30, which, yes, we can go ahead and simplify here, divide by 2. So that's going to be a 2 over 15. But not worried about the fractions here in this case. What I want you to focus on is when I have a double division, right? My first term is going to be in my numerator, and my last two terms are going to be a product in the denominator. That's very, very important to remember. So let's go over a logarithm to kind of see, well, how could we apply this? So let's say I have a 4 log of base b of x minus a 2 log of base b of, let's say, y, and then minus a 1/2 log of base b of z, okay? All right, so rules of exponents allow us to go ahead and rewrite these all as powers, so I'm just gonna go and do that. It's not really part of the mistake or the problem, but it's important for us to kind of make sure we got everything going on. So b, I'm sorry, so that's gonna be a log base b y squared. And then over here, this is going to be the z to the 1/2 or the square root of z. So I'll just go ahead and rewrite this as a log base b of the square root of z. Okay. Now, again, we can go through this. Like I can see that these two I can rewrite as a quotient. So the rules of logarithms, so that's the product rule we talked about over here. The quotient rule, basically when you are subtracting two logarithms, then you're going to have a quotient of your two arguments. So I can condense these first two down to one logarithm as log base b of x to the 4th divided by a y squared. Okay, I'm going to use some parentheses here, and then I'm going to have that subtracted by log base b of the square root of z. Now again, if I do this, condense this one more time, I'm going to have this being divided by that. But again, if we think about it in simple numbers, we recognize when I have a fraction divided by another term, it's the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So this square root of z is going to be in the denominator. So therefore, my final answer, log base b, is going to be x to the 4th y squared square root of z. Okay? So it's just a very common mistake when students do it. They have trouble with fractions, and they just make their mistakes.